One, two, three. Welcome to Off the Rails, a podcast where we talk about anything and everything while trying to stay on topic. My name's Justin,
And I'm Natasha.
and today's topic we're doing another segment called r slash, where we kind of just read a specific Reddit article that we
Yeah.
find, and this one we'll be reading from the page "Am I the asshole?" This page is essentially just like people kind of send in their situation, and the whole Reddit community just decides whether or not they're a bad person or not.
Yeah. Also, guys, like before we start, I just wanted to say I'm so sorry. It's not Justin's fault, it's mainly my fault because we haven't recorded in 2 weeks. I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but that happened. And that was just me. I've just been having such a fun time here in the
Mm-hmm.
US.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry about this, but we're back.
Yes, we are back. Okay, so this article is called Am I the Asshole for telling my friend she needs a life of her own and she has to stop leeching off of mine? Okay, I'll begin. Hi, my long-term friend, 20, so the long-term friend is a 25 female, has a history of doing whatever it
25
is.
female.
Yes, has a history of doing whatever it is that I'm interested in at the moment. She asks questions until she's got a clear idea of what music, books, movies I'm into, and then does a whole act of how she discovered that in front of the whole friend group. Being the pushover that I am, I'm sad to say that I've let her do this for some time while slowly trying to put some distance between us. This also extends to people, any new friend or even acquaintance I make should be clear with her, and then she makes a friend move on them to get closer to them. She has even tried to weasel her way into my family gatherings and private events. She also has, for some reason, keeps telling my dad that that she's like the daughter he would have wanted. So right now, she's kind of like in every place of her life, like including friends and family events, which I think is kind of weird, especially like saying that like telling the dad that like she's the daughter he would have wanted. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, that makes
Anyways,
me really uncomfortable.
yeah, continuing onwards. I've recently noticed that
There's more.
she, yeah, I've recently noticed that she is rarely interested in something of her own. I don't know how to say that word. Volition. Who knows?
Let's move
All
past
her,
it.
yeah, all her leads are from me. I have been getting tired of her behavior for a while. Things came to a head a few months ago when she started texting a guy I've been speaking to for a while. And speaking to means like went on a few dates, but nothing serious happened. But she's hoping that there would be. Anyways, and telling him how compatible they would be. Oh my God. He was confused and thought it was me texting from her phone, so he double checked with me. I, of course, was beyond angry, but instead of confronting her immediately, I told him to ask her why she's doing this and if she was aware that him and I were almost a thing. Oh my God. Her response to him was to flirt even further and say that her and I always had similar tastes, but went on to mention how he might be better off with her. He sent me the
Oh,
screenshots and sent them to her and said, "You need to leave me alone. Things in my life are not for grabs. You have leached off me for long enough. If you keep this up, I won't have any issue shaming you in our friend group." Ah! She got very
oh my
standoffish
God.
and accused me of tricking her by using the guy's phone to make her look bad. She also proceeded to speak badly of me to our friend group. I might be the asshole because all of this while other than trying to keep, I don't understand this. I might be the asshole because all of this while other than trying to keep some distance between us, I did not properly voice my concerns. She did, however, notice my discomfort at various occasions, especially my family gatherings. So am I the asshole for handling things this way?
Oh, so she's saying, is she the asshole for not saying something sooner and letting things progress?
to this point, and also like she's
Right.
asking like the way she went about it, like via the guy, via like saying like I have no like problem like shaming you
Right.
in our friend group. Yeah.
There were like a lot of things. Like I feel like we have to attack this like in a chronological order. What happened first?
Okay, so definitely it seems like the friend has been just doing everything she's been doing, kind of leeching on her interests. And then she said it took a turning point when she started leeching on the guy she was talking to. And she started flirting with the guy she was talking
That is truly something.
to.
That's a commitment
Yeah.
to do that to another person.
Yeah. I honestly, okay. I don't think she took this probably in the right way by like doing it by the means of the guy instead of like sitting her down and like talking to her about it. It's very spontaneous. But I do think that it was needed. Like she definitely should have said something, and like if this is her way of getting something out, then like by all means.
But I feel like maybe it's like all of those things. She like said so many like, oh, she was hanging out with my family and then
Mm-hmm.
she was like copying her or something. Did she say that? Yeah.
She said that she asks questions until she gets a clear idea of what the person's interested into, and then does a whole act about how she discovered that in front of the whole friend group.
Wow. And well, yeah. So she did that family stuff,
Mm-hmm.
etc.
That
Whole
family stuff is weird.
yeah, that makes me really uncomfortable. But anyways, that's besides the point. But I think things she said like things came to a head when she did this thing with the guy, and I guess like all these things building up over time, just she couldn't handle it anymore. So then she just had to confront her like that. And then like emotions take over and then you're just like acting irrationally and stuff. Like I get it, I guess. But like maybe she should have like talked about it with her friend or whatever beforehand or just like
Yeah.
stopped it before. I mean, I
I
don't
think
know.
she should have talked to her. I think when the friend started talking to her man, right? That's a line she crossed over, right? I think at that point she should have personally like say like, hey, can we talk? And then had a in-person conversation with her instead of like
Hmm.
sending the screenshots, and also telling that
Instead of
she
like
is,
blasting her
yeah, and also saying
and
like I
over
have
text as well. Like that's
literally.
text. Speaking from personal experience, guys, like you do not want to have beef over text. Like that is the worst kind of
Yeah,
argument ever.
because so many things get lost in translation, like different like tones that you want to like say or
I
whatever,
mean, I
but
feel like
also
this is like a norm. Oh, sorry, but I feel like this is a normal thing that everybody knows. But once you get into the thick of it, you don't want to mess with it.
yeah. I think that I think no, the one thing that's kind of weird that is when she said I have no problem like shaming you in our friend group. Like when our protagonist was like when she's like, if you keep this up, I won't have any issue shaming you in our friend group.
Okay, that's just a mean thing to do.
Yeah. One issue I think a lot of people have with like problems with one individual is that they bring in other people that really don't need to be brought
Right. I mean, I agree. It's just it makes things like messy and stuff, and it just involves a lot of people that really don't need to be involved. But like, yeah.
in. But so I don't think she's the asshole. I do think she could have done this a little better in terms of like communication with like
Hmm.
the person she has an issue with, but I do think that she's in the right for like putting her foot down. Thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I agree. I don't think she was the asshole in this situation because so many of those things outweigh whatever she said, in my opinion, at least. But like, like there's always like a better way to do something. Like obviously, like the situation could have been handled a lot better. Like if we go back in time knowing what we know now, we would definitely do things a different way. But like that's just not how things work. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So she, our protagonist, actually wrote in the comments and said, I was hoping that she would catch on to my discomfort and the timing of me trying to move away, but she would never acknowledge that. And then someone replied saying, that's not how communication works. It's hard, but sometimes the kindest and nicest thing you can do for people is to be really clear about your boundaries. Hints don't work. You have to use your
Right.
words.
I
And
was going to
remember,
say that, yeah.
just because someone is upset doesn't mean you did anything wrong.
Mm.
I agree with this. I think a lot of people have issues with um causing discomfort. Like it
I
sounds like,
think,
yeah.
sorry, but I think it's just like everybody has like different boundaries and stuff and lines that they cross. And so, like, something could be like blatantly obvious to you that, like, somebody else might not pick up on, and you just assume that they should know that that makes you uncomfortable. But, like, some people just don't get it. So, some people just, you need to be really blunt with them and say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is what's making me uncomfortable, or this is what's upsetting me. And, it would be really nice if you could change that, or, not just do something about it. And then if they don't, then it truly is, you know, them doing something wrong. But if you don't say anything,
Yeah, I
then
think
there.
a lot of people in the comments are saying that she's not the asshole, and they're kind of saying how like the person, the friend wasn't really a friend. It was more like one person called her an emotional vampire, and it's like I kind of get that. It's like if you don't feel for me, like you have to be comfortable with your friends. Like you have to be comfortable with them to the point where like you're able to actually just say the truth no matter what, right? Because like
Hmm.
the truth will hurt in some like um circumstances, but like if they're your friend, you kind of not you kind of want to tell them the truth and not lie to them, or like lie to yourself that like you're okay with this. So like I think for all of our listeners, if you're beefing with a friend, try to like steer away from lying about anything. Like even if it's like lying about how you feel, just say how you feel. Because like if you want to resolve conflict, I think that's the best way to do it by just saying the truth.
Like getting everything out in the open and just being completely like honest about how you're feeling or what like anything that will help them. And you don't know how they're going to react until you say it. And like that'll benefit you in the long run, because then your friend will either see or not see the value in that you are super honest as a friend. And
Yeah.
like you will tell them when you're feeling something is wrong or they're messing something up. And like people will be so glad, or at least I would be glad, if somebody was upset with me and then they told me, so that in case I'm doing that to other people and other people are upset with me, then at least I would know about it and I could stop doing it,
Mm.
or whatever it is.
Okay, but follow-up question. In terms of the story, like the context, should our protagonist kind of like kind of help the girl change in a sense? Because like she definitely like the friend kind of has something going on in the to the point where like she has the need to like copy another person, but is our protagonist obligated, or is someone obligated to try to help this friend become a better individual?
Nobody is responsible for other people. At
Mm,
least in my opinion. Like nobody is responsible for your actions. Like those are completely your own things to deal with. But I think when it comes to like when you're dealing with something that's bothering you or it impacts other people or like if they're dealing with something themselves and you might recognize that, I think you should, if you want to, you can go address that to them and say something to them like you're concerned about them. But then, you're not responsible for taking that up as your own responsibility, if that makes any sense.
yes, I do agree. Um, a lot of people have, I don't know, a lot of people have, especially if they're your friend, like, I think it's because like there is a certain amount of care you have for the person that they feel like, oh, I have to help this person get better. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so important that some people just gotta realize you don't like
Mm-hmm.
that's their issue they gotta deal with. Like you can tell them that they have this issue, but is it your like problem to actually like fix it with them? No, that's a waste of time. You got something better to do. So go do
And you
that.
might end up just hurting yourself also. Like that, it's just not healthy for either of you because then, the other person might become dependent on you and stuff. And then you might get roped into all of their own issues. And, nobody wants that. So, yeah, just in a general sense, we're talking.
Yeah. It's it's definitely like I don't know if okay, I think okay, let's like take away the part where she tried to meddle with the man. Would
The
you,
friend?
yeah, the friend meddling with the protagonist's man, right? Would
Hmm.
you cut her off?
I don't think so. I mean, this is like based on limited knowledge. Like,
Yeah.
also, like, two people have like there's one side to there's two sides to every argument. So,
Hmm.
we're just listening to this one side of the story and we don't really know
Yeah.
what the other girl is thinking or like we're not a part of it, but just based on the limited knowledge that we have, I think, if the friend really did want to change or if they really did want to do something about it, then, I would try and stick around for a while. But, if they're not willing to change, then, at some point I'm just going to have to give it up because that's just
Mm.
not going to work for me.
Yeah, I get that. Definitely like friendship is all about what's it called? Like you both have to
Hmm.
like sacrifice something in order for like a friendship to work. Cause like not like no one can ever have everything they ever wanted. Cause like sometimes it doesn't match and there has to be like people have to be willing to like sacrifice. Oh, like
Well, not sacrifice. I feel like that's a
yeah, but
harsh
like
word. I think
yeah.
compromise is a better word
Compromise.
for
That's
that.
the word. That's the word. Like there has to be compromises and there has to be like even like negotiation sometimes, just like talking things through and saying like,
Yeah.
hey, you do this, I'll do this, and just so we like understand like we're on the same page. Um,
Yeah.
because in terms of this whole like story, I don't think there was any communication between the two, especially about like what
Hmm.
they were willing to compromise, or even just saying like, "Hey, I don't like you telling my dad that you're the daughter that he wishes he would have. So like, just don't do that." Like, there wasn't even that. Like,
Hmm. Yeah. Communication is super important in every relationship, not romantic either, just any
yeah,
relationship at all.
no,
Like, I'm
literally,
pretty sure we said this in our relationships episode, if you guys listen to that or not. But, like, I mean, I feel like this is turning into a lecture, which nobody really wants, but like, it's true. Like, we're not saying this for no reason.
yeah, yeah. So before we wrap this up, um, I think the key takeaway is this: is that she's not an asshole, but definitely like we got to learn from her mistake. And when we have an issue with someone, we got to say it.
Yes, guys, we got to bring the power. We
Oh,
got to
God.
stand up for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyways, Thank you guys for listening. We're happy to be back after.
Yeah, sorry guys. Also, I'm sorry, like at the end I'm saying this, but my microphone, I don't have it with me either. So 2 faults by me.
It's okay. We compromise. Anyways.
Exactly. Compromise.
Thank you guys for listening. If you want to follow our podcast Instagram, it's at offtherails.pod. And if you want to follow us personally, you can follow me at justin.tran with 2 T's in the Justin.
And at Natasha Roach, it is just my name.
Yes, it is. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you talk to your friends about all the issues you have. Make sure you compromise, and don't leech off of others' lives. Okay? Thanks. Bye.
Bye.